Welcome back to another episode of the Barron Report, and we are, of course, continuing our coverage on the coronavirus and its impact on the restaurant and hospitality space. Some of the exploration that we're doing here on the show is really centered around how operators are kind of either one, dealing with the pandemic and how they're doing their operations today, technology solutions that are solving problems, and then of course the stories that are coming to us that are essentially getting ready for the recovery and how do we come out of this. And that's kind of our topic for this episode, and that is around menu development. And menu development is going to be very key in the future of food service and retail. Joining me today, I've got Julie Lim, who is with CAULIPOWER. And it's great to have you on the show, Julie. Thanks for stopping in.
I am super excited to be here, Paul, and really excited for the next half hour.
Yeah. So CAULIPOWER, I've got to get that down. Let's talk a little bit about the products that you guys produce for food service and the retail space. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing there.
Yeah, so CAULIPOWER is just about 3 years old. We are actually what you consider a hyper-growth startup company. And we we're actually first to market in our cauliflower crust pizza. A perfect product at the right time. We launched in grocery, and within 1 year, we actually commercialized 4 different products, but all innovative and all kind of things that people really haven't really thought about or actually commercialized that you would actually have thought, why not?
Right.
And so our founder and CEO came out with a cauliflower tortilla, and she actually then expanded into a sweet potato that's actually sliced and baked, and you just pop it in a toaster oven, and it's actually a supplement to bread.
Okay.
And then also came out with a chicken tender that's coated with cauliflower. So we're gluten-free, although we don't actually go out and tell everyone we're gluten-free, and that's not our big go-to-market kind of plan, but we are a gluten-free, naturally gluten-free product, obviously plant-based.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, we commercialized our food service product, and we have 4 products into food service. And in a few months, we're actually coming out with cauliflower rice.
Oh, okay. I like it. And I think with dining habits, we've already started to see a shift into plant-based. There's a big movement there. Now, of course, with the pandemic, it's changing or appears to be changing consumer mindsets. We've seen everything from, massive rise in food safety concerns, massive rise in reduction of animal proteins for fear of scenarios. There's so many things that could be affecting how we build menus in the future. When you look at what you guys are doing, what creative concepts are you building for food service specifically? I like the product lines, but anything that you guys are focused on specifically that would help food service?
Yeah, I think, luckily, I think that there are some trends that are fads, right? Really, they're just food trends or menu trends that just happen to be fads, and it's just really great. But luckily, the products that we've actually been commercializing for food service had been trends that had been around for years. And so when we look at the role that we play at CAULIPOWER in food service, we are a canvas to a lot of products. So
right.
If you look at our pizza crust, it's actually a crust. And then the pizza concept puts their, secret sauce and
Sure.
their cheese and toppings and all of those things. And they create their own unique menu item. Our cauliflower tortillas, we had restaurant chain, actually #1 Mexican chain, come out and actually create some superfood enchiladas out of it. So we're in a sense, that's why collaboration on menu trends and innovation are so important to the role that we play, because we're not the final end-all product.
Right.
We require the chef to actually really bring out their inspiration along with our team to actually finally come out with a product that everyone will just really enjoy and crave.
Yeah. Has there been anything? Obviously, you've worked with some operators out there on implementing these products in their menus. Anything that has kind of stuck as far as a key trend or something that has really kind of taken off for you guys that you've said, hey, this really turned out well, whether it's the pizza crust or they're using it as a flatbread style approach. What kind of things or innovations have you seen out there in the market with your product?
I think that, and this is, just really what I'm seeing, just not just because of what's been happening in the last, few weeks, but it's just in restaurants, there's so many different products and there's so many different SKUs. And, the turnover in restaurants are really, really just high, right?
Yeah.
And so when we have one product that could actually fit into so many different menu applications, I
Right.
think, or final menu items, it's always works. So our pizza crust, which really is our hero product, and even in retail and in food service, has worked so well in that aspect. So obviously you could use it as a pizza crust. And I really do believe that cauliflower crust pizza is going to be the next, just like another gluten-free item, but it's just another option. It's again not a fad, but we've actually had a restaurant chain take that product, work with our culinary team to create almost like a crouton supplement.
Okay.
And they bake the crust, chop it up. They actually put it in salads. We actually had them cut it in 4 pieces, make it into a sandwich bread. And so when I think about restaurant operations, just having a really solid canvas product to be able to use that product for multiple applications
Right.
just really is a benefit for everyone.
Very cool. Well, there's definitely no shortage of innovation from, the operator community. They always seem to find unique ways to, kind of enhance their menus and kind of move from there. Let's talk a little bit about the consumers and potentially their shift in eating habits. So we've kind of seen a movement. We've talked a little bit about this here on the show, a movement toward more plant-based. That obviously is resonant in kind of our society right now. What are your thoughts on how we come out of this pandemic around consumer behavior and what they choose to eat? Where do you guys see that going?
So I think, again, when you look at just the shift in people's lifestyle. So it's not just about, again, a fad diet, but it's about a shift in people just being healthier
Right.
and looking for, we live in a world where we are literally on a conference call. We're actually watching the news and we're actually multitasking. And sometimes I look at food and I go, oh my gosh, like I want a food that multitasks, if that makes sense. A food that actually adds some value or some health benefits. And I think that's a trend that's going to stay, and it's going to stay for a long time. It's going to continue to grow. And that happens to be a lot of superfood plant-based foods, right?
Right.
So cauliflower being a superfood has so many vitamins, it has fiber, it has so many health benefits that if the crust tastes the same as a regular pizza, or if the tortilla tastes the same as a regular corn tortilla, then why not supplement this and actually bring the health benefits back to me? And I think that's where we've been able to really be intentional in the products that we bring to life in food service.
Sure. Well, I think you're right with consumers. The health movement that we've seen here on our network around healthy eating concepts that have really grown and continued to have considerable pre-pandemic was having considerable differences in terms of foot traffic, takeout, et cetera. Obviously because of the changing diets that we were seeing in American consumers. But there is still a large part of the American population, well, global population, more so American, that is not healthy. And it's being kind of magnified during this pandemic on those at risk have these underlying health conditions. And in many cases, it's everything from diabetes to heart disease, you name it, which in the obvious shift is, do you start to change your lifestyle and your eating habits after this is over, knowing that, hey, I need to really kind of reposition how I just walk around in this world out there. So I do see that as being a major factor. When you look at strategies, let's talk about. I'm an operator. I've got to develop strategies now coming out of this pandemic. I know I'm going to have to shrink my menu, so cross utilization is going to be huge. And I know that I'm going to have to really market this product in a new way because I've got to build more revenue in fewer menu items. What are some of the things that you guys are doing to kind of help operators prepare for that kind of reality that's coming?
Yeah, I mean, Paul, I think just like you said, just because of the sheer number of products that are available in the grocery store, and I'm trying to get in and get out, even myself who actually came to this company intentionally to try to provide a better, healthier lifestyle for my family, had to kind of flex a little bit, right? And so coming out of this, I think that it's just for an operator, I think it's super critical to be so intentional right now, to take this time to sharpen the knives, if that makes sense, to really kind of think about, yes, we do have to shrink the menu. Yes, we have to be intentional about what we do, but let's come out the other side. I think people will be a little bit more forgiving of menu changes when we come out the other side versus we've heard for so many years, right, from operators and especially chains saying, we can't change this because this is the one thing that's on our menu that people have been eating one time, but they'll complain if it leaves. Well, this time I think people will be forgiving. And I think that right now it's about really taking, again, not the trends that are the fads, but taking the trends that have been around for a very long time, taking into consideration all of those diets, right, that actually dietary needs, diabetes and cholesterol and all of those things, and then coming out with options for families that, again, it's just craveable. And, our whole thing at CAULIPOWER, even when we commercialize our retail products, we always tell people, we bring meal hacks to life and we take the America's most favorite comfort foods and we make it better for you.
Interesting.
Right. So pizza, we make it better for you. Chicken tenders, we make it better for you. Mexican food, we can make it better for you. It's all these foods that we actually love and enjoy. We just make it a little bit better for you. Yeah. And I think that's the same thing as an operator. When you think about everyone who's been cooking at home 3 meals a day, everyone who's been, really kind of, again, dealing with the times right now, when they come out the other side, what are they really going to be looking for? And I think it's everything associated with being clean.
Yeah, for sure. I think the cleanliness and menus are going to really come to the top of the pecking order. And I think you're right in the sense of consumers are going to be a little bit more forgiving on that in terms of maybe the menu shrinkage that we will see in the industry. Here's the thing. I love the term you just used, the meal hacks. When you look at your product, so you guys have a product that can be cross-utilized in so many different ways. Do you have a resource library or anything out there that operators could use to say, I'm going to take this product and I'm going to make 6 different menu concepts out of it? Is there anything that like that exists today there at CAULIPOWER?
Yeah, so we've been, again, being a year-old company into food service, I've been really fortunate actually to have a member on my team who actually is a chef, and she worked for a chain restaurant. So we put a library of not only just products together, but what she's been able to do is, and I've challenged her for the last years and said, we need to make this easily executable, right? Yeah. The whole thing about bringing meal hacks to life is it's taking, 90 minutes out of making a cauliflower crust at home to actually just buying it and then topping it yourself. And it's just time saving, but that's what food service is about, right? Back of the house labor is going to go extremely high. So not only do we have the library of different products and menu items that we could actually share with our customers, but we even have the operational process built in. And I think that's the value that that operators really should be asking their vendor partners for right now.
Yeah, definitely.
What more than just bringing ideas to the table? Tell me how I can execute it.
Exactly.
Tell me why it's important to me.
Yeah, and I think the education aspect is one that, we've missed that. The industry has kind of missed it just through sheer I'll call it a little bit of bloatness that it has existed, meaning you just throw a bunch of people at it, resources in the past
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 years because of this massive growth we've seen in the restaurant industry. We could kind of bumble our way along in building new concepts. I think we're going to have to get very refined now, very systematic, because that's usually, if you look back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, when the quick service restaurant chains were growing like crazy, what made them so effective was their systems that they put in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every restaurant operator out there today, moving past the pandemic, they're going to have a very systematic educational process for building menu components that are super efficient, super tasty, and really kind of shifts the whole mindset of how consumers consume food. So this is going to be interesting to see how how operators truly come out of it, because all that fat that we had in our kitchens is now
Mm-hmm.
gone. We're
Yep.
not going to have, extra chefs there or extra support staff to help do prep when we need to do something a little bit more complicated. We're going to need these kind of products to kind of go to that next level. Let's talk about when you look at the operators that you're talking with, chefs, fast casual concepts, this movement toward healthy. Now that we're in this, do you guys have some strategies and some ideas of what this is going to look like on the other side in terms of the kind of restaurant that's going to exist out there?
Oh, wow. Um, I think that the conversations we've had, and because of the different variety of products that we had ongoing partnerships with everywhere from a food within a gym. We actually partner with a very large gym that actually has a cafe, a food cafe inside, and then all the way to casual dining.
Right.
And so I think when we think about which type of restaurant is going to kind of be out there at the other side, I think it's the ones that have been very business forward. I think people who are organizations that have been diversified,
Right.
organizations that have catered to multi-generations. I think the ones that actually have operated to looking at innovation as it is today, not the future, are going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that this all hit us so quickly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, we woke up one day, I thought it was a nightmare. And I woke up and all the restaurants were closed.
Right.
And even our small mom and pops, and I have tons of family members that own small restaurants, and they literally said, oh, we're just going to do to go. We're going to do pickup. We're going to do this. And if they did not build the infrastructure at that time to actually be able to support that,
Exactly.
they were able to execute it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so important right now and it's not too late. I think it's so important right now to assess the business, look at the business and say, what haven't we done because we said we didn't have enough time? Right now is the time to actually build all that infrastructure and be innovative and really look at your menu and trim it down, be intentional, and then be stronger on the other side. Because I truly believe that we live in America where 50% of what we were eating that was consumed was away from my home. And I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
And so let's build a stronger industry. Let's be smarter about what we do.
For sure. I think that is every operator out there today is their new design of what they're going to look like on the other side of this is definitely something that probably is about 20 years in the future. I think we're being forced as an industry to, one, embrace technology, two, look at a changing environment of how consumer consumption is going to be done, and three, I think the models that we're going to be utilizing to just convey service, actually provide hospitality experiences, are going to completely be remapped in the coming months, if not over the next year. So Julie Lim, the Executive Vice President of CAULIPOWER. Great to have you on the show today. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So every one of you guys are out there listening in over on our podcast. If you're over on Spotify, make sure and drop us a love. Give us some feedback. We like to hear those notes. If you're over on iTunes, subscribe. Give us a note there as well. And of course, if you're an Android user, listen, we've got a ton of, which we just saw our numbers from last month, a ton of users over on Google Podcasts. So welcome into the Barron Report. And if you're an iHeartRadio listener, that's great. But if you're over on YouTube, make sure and ring the bell. Subscribe to this show, because this is how you're going to get updated content as we continue our coverage right here on Foodable Network with the Barron Report, talking about the coronavirus and its impact on the restaurant industry, but more importantly, how we start to recover from this pandemic. Stay tuned right here. We'll catch you next time right here on the Barron Report.